Some of you may have seen recently that there was a bill proposed by Congressman Maria Salazar called the Dignity Act. Well, what is it? Let's first of all, is this bill called the Dignity Act? Let's find out. That's a good question. First of all, is this bill called the Dignity Act? I think that's a good question to ask. Let's make sure we get the name right first, huh? Let's make sure we get the name right. Oh, it's not. Oh, dignity is the secondary name. Oh, it's the Dignity for Immigrants While Guarding Our Nation to Ignite and Deliver the American Dream Act. Oh, the DIGNIDAD Act. 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 That's kind of insulting. They put it in Spanish. That's interesting. So you guys may have heard about the Dignity Act or the DIGNIDAD Act. So let's talk about it. First of all, this isn't the first time that they've proposed this specific piece of legislation. Actually, they tried this time last year. They tried it in, actually not this time, but they tried it in July of last year. And there's a tweet from one Charles Kirk about the Dignidad Act. There are a handful of Republicans in Congress pushing the so-called Dignity Act of 2025, which would shield illegals from deportation if they have been in the U.S. since before 2021. Here's the trick. We do not know when many or perhaps most illegals entered the U.S. All they'd have to do is say the magic words and they'd be allowed to stay. At best, their case would be bogged down in court for years. This is a ruse. Do not fall for it. This will grind President Trump's mass deportation to a halt. This is worse than soft amnesty. This is de facto ends the mass deportations Americans voted for. Wow. Pretty good. Dude, this still smells bad. I need to get rid of that. Pretty interesting stuff. And he posts this full operational border control, verified 7-year legal status for those who entered the U.S. before 2021, those who illegally entered the U.S. before 2021. That's an important modifier. Permanent legal status for dreamers who meet requirements, asylum reform, ends catch and release, 70 billion American workforce fund not funded by taxpayers. It is going to be funded by taxpayers. We'll get into that. There we go. So let's look through this. Let's look at it. Uh-oh. Hold on, chat. Hold on. Stand back and stand by, Patriots. Department of Homeland Security Border Oversight Commission, referred to in this act as the Commission. The Commission shall be led by the chair and vice chair. The Commission shall be composed of 30 members who shall be appointed by, okay, here's all the appointments, They shall be civil rights advocates, shall represent the business community, and shall represent institutions of higher education, shall represent a faith community. Of the 13 members from the northern border region, 2 shall be civil rights advocates. So 2 of them are going to be leftists. This is Maria Salazar's bill. 2 of them are going to be leftists. 1 of them will come from the business community. So 1 of them is going to be somebody who has economic interests in amnesty, so they get cheap labor. 1 of them is going to be from a liberal college, and 1 of them is going to represent a faith community. Only 2 will be U.S. Border Patrol officers and agents. 2 will be Native American tribal officials. The Southern Border Subcommittee. All right. 3 will be civil rights advocates. So 3 of them will be leftists. 2 will have financial incentive. 3 shall be elected local government officials. 3 shall be local law enforcement officials. 3 shall be leftists. 2 will represent the business community, i.e. someone who has financial incentive to keep them in for cheap labor. One will be from a liberal college. One will represent a faith community. 2 shall be U.S. Border Patrol agents, and 2 will be Native American government officials. The members of the commission shall elect a chair, a vice chair, So there you go. There's her commission. Her commission is going to include, let's see how they get on the commission. Let's scroll up a little. Pursuant to Clause 1, 13 members shall be from the northern border region, shall comprise Northern Border Subcommittee, 17 members. Yeah. Appointed by the Speaker and the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives and the majority and minority leaders of the Senate in consultation with the President. Okay, so they're going to be appointed by Congress. They're going to be appointed by Congress, which does mean that if for some reason, I don't know, you give a bunch of amnesty to illegals and you don't pass the SAVE Act, so they're all here and they're voting. Crazy. I don't know how that would happen. But if for some reason the Democrats got control of the House and the Senate and the presidency, they would be the one appointing these people. So they would be appointing this commission who will oversee this stuff will be there. So let's count real quick. 2 will be local government elected officials. All right. So this is either going to be left or right. Okay. Because it'll be either left or right. And it'll depend on who is appointing them. So let's just split it. Let's say there's 1 leftist, 1 Democrat, and 1 Republican. Lexio Semper, thank you so much for being here. Good evening. 2 will be local law enforcement officials. We could say those will probably lean right most of the time. There is a chance that they won't, but 2 will lean right. So we've got 1 left leaning, 1 right leaning, 2 right leaning. So that's 1 to 3. 2 civil rights advocates. That's 3 to 3. 1 will represent the business community. Now that's going to be somebody who is not so reliably socially conservative. They're going to be primarily fiscally conservative, which is incentivized to have lots of immigration for cheap labor. So for the purposes of this commission, that person will likely lean left. Further, as we will see later, based on Maria Salazar's own PR that she's been doing about this bill, we can comfortably say that anybody concerned with business interests in relation to this act will lean left and lean towards amnesty, just because of how Maria Salazar talks about this. And we'll get to that, but you're going to have to trust me on that for now. But like I said, we will get there. 1 will represent institutions of higher education. So now this is 1 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 3, 4 to 3. This one's going to be leftist as well because institutions of higher education are just going to be left-leaning. So that's 4 to 3. 1 shall represent a faith community. That's going to be almost 100% of the time somebody who's interested in faith community and is highly educated on immigration is going to be likely a left-leaning person. So that's 5 to 3. 2 Border Patrol agents. That's 5 to 5. And then 2 tribal officials. Somebody said earlier in chat that they might not want to let more people in, but they really hate Americans. You're underestimating how much they hate Americans. People who are tribal officials who are interested in being on an executive commission hate Americans. They're going to be leftists. So that's 7 to 5 on the Northern Border Commission. All right. The Southern Border Commission, 3 elected local government officials. So let's just call it 1.5 to 1.5 for pure math's sake, because it'll swing based on who is appointing them. So it's just 1.5 to 1.5. 3 local law enforcement officials. So that's 1.5 to 4.5. 3 civil rights attorneys, 4.5 to 4.5. 2 shall represent business communities. That's 6.5 to 4.5. 1 shall represent institutions of higher education. That's 7.5 to 4.5. 1 shall represent faith community. That's 8.5 to 4.5. 2 shall be U.S. Border Patrol agents. That's 8.5 to 6.5. 2 shall be tribal officials. That's 10.5 to 6.5. So there is going to be approximately 40% more left-wing representation on this commission around the southern border enforcing Maria Salazar's Dignity Act than there are conservative people on immigration. Just doing the quick math, right? Okay, Ocean. Thank you so much for watching. I hope when you come back, I hope you will come back. I appreciate you watching. I like all of my viewers. I appreciate everybody who watches. So there's that, right? That's pretty interesting. Protecting sensitive locations. Section 287 of the Immigration Nationality Act amended by adding the following. Except as otherwise provided, an officer or agent of the U.S. Customs Enforcement or Customs Bureau may not take an immigration enforcement action near a protected area. Now, Mysterion has highlighted this section. He's mad about it. I'm going to tell you something, Mysterion. There are protected areas, and there should be. Churches are the main one. Public schools are protected areas. They should not be, but churches ought to be protected areas. And this is actually borne out in Christendom. If you went into a church, you could not be arrested while in a church by the authorities because it was seen that the spiritual authority was preeminent while in the presence of Christ, while in the church. Sounds unconstitutional to me to let a Congress appoint an executive commission. I don't think it's an executive commission. I think it's just a general. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I'd have to read it more. Like I said, we're going to revisit this next week. Just I've not had time to read through this like super deeply. So there's that. Protected areas. The term protected area includes structure or place that provides essential services at any school. There you go. So that should not be true. Should only be religious schools. Hospital, medical facility, mental facility, or other healthcare facility. Now, Maria Salazar is saying that these people will not get these services. We'll see that clip later too. But Maria Salazar has said that these people will not get these services. So it's interesting that it's a protected area in the bill. Any place of worship or religious study where a structure dedicated to activities of faith or temporary facility location where such activities are taking place. This one is good. This is good. There should be. This is good. This is good. Unless you are actively engaging in criminal activity inside of the church, you should be protected from the authorities while in the church. Any structure, place, or purpose for which children gather. This one is bad. Any structure or place, the purpose of which is to provide social services. She's also said they will not be getting social services, federal social services. So it's interesting that that's listed as a protected place. Surely this extends to non-church entities. It does. That's the problem with it being legally phrased that way. But yes, it would be good if they were in a church. Any place religious activities take place is going to be twisted. Yeah. What? Disaster emergency relief. That one's probably good because disaster emergency relief. Yeah, I think that one's probably good. I think it's probably good. I could go both ways on that one. I will just say quite honestly that right off the top of my head, I'm not seeing. Yeah. This is the one I just said what to. This is crazy. Hurricane shelters aren't the place to arrest illegals. That's my instinct. I'm just worried that the way this is phrased, any structure or place the purpose of which is to provide disaster or emergency assistance or emergency relief, because she has said in this other interview that they will not be receiving federal social services in any way. So I think this is good in theory. However, I think the presence of this here is evidence that she's lying and knows it. Is what I'm hesitating on. I hope that makes sense. A place where a funeral, graveside ceremony, rosary, wedding, or other religious civil ceremony or observances occur. That's so weird, dude. Because there's no place where putting a place where a rosary occurs. So if you're illegal and you're just in your car and you're being surrounded by ICE and you whip out your rosary and start praying it, can they suddenly not arrest you? Are they suddenly violating your First Amendment to free exercise of religion? What? I know it means a church grotto or like a cemetery, right? But it's so weird to put that in there. It's like evidence that she is putting it in there because she knows these people are Catholic. But she doesn't understand what the rosary is. A place where a rosary occurs. I mean, right? What the heck? What does that even mean? Yeah, I don't get this. A place where there is an ongoing parade, demonstration, or rally. No, no. Actually, if you're illegal and you're demonstrating against immigration enforcement, we should go there more. We should go there. Not only should we not be allowed to arrest you, we should definitely go there and arrest you. Any courthouse. What? Obviously, we're going to arrest you at the courthouse for being illegal. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Yeah, temporary facilities such as, yeah, literally anywhere. Avoid being deported. Sorry, you guys can't see it because the chat's in the way, but Mysterion put in the notes on this. Avoid being deported with this one neat trick. So there you go. The act has some stuff. I think that gets the point across that there is some crazy stuff in here that just doesn't make sense to be in here. Let me pull up the links here for these media tours, and we will watch these videos of the media tour. Gotcha. This is so bad. It's really bad. It's way worse than people realize. Honestly, it's so terrible. It's crazy how bad this bill is. All right, so let's just hold on real quick. Let's open X and let's just go up here and let's just go to Maria Salazar's. This is Maria Salazar's Twitter page. Let's see what she has to say. Oh, it's not amnesty. It's not amnesty. It's not amnesty. It's not amnesty. Okay, it's not amnesty. That's good to know.
We give them dignity. At some point in the future, another legislator will write another law to give them paths to citizenship. Right now.
Hold on. She said it's not amnesty, so I must have misheard that. If it's not amnesty, why would she just say that her plan is, like, she wouldn't just say publicly last year when she was trying this that her plan was to eventually give them a path to citizenship. Right? Like, hold on.
Dignity. At some point in the future, another legislator will write another law to give them paths to citizenship. Right now, what we need to do is to buy peace for these people, allow them to stay, to continue working because they are needed.
That sounds like amnesty to me,
chat. Give them dignity.
Chat, that sounds like amnesty to me. Does that sound like amnesty to anybody else? Yeah, it sounds like amnesty to me. Interesting. Well, here's a longer interview she did with Dennis Michael Lynch, who I'd not heard of before this interview, but he does a great job in this interview. So let's watch this interview, huh? Let's.
But I want to know how it is and who it is that is going to process these background checks on 17 million people.
Homeland Security.
Have you talked about how long this is going to take? How long does it take to process 17 million people when I've got, let's even just say 50,000 ICE agents specializing in nothing other than the Dignity Act?
Look, I cannot tell you specifically how DHS is going to manage this, but okay. we give them 18 months to do it.
In 18 months, we cannot process 18 million people. That would be 30.
Now he's saying 18 million. Here's the thing, guys. There was an MIT study done in 2017 that said there are 22.5 million illegals in 2017. Now her act gives legal status to everyone who was here before December 31st, 2020, which means 18 million is a generous number for her, right? 18 million is the number that favors her.
3,000 people a day if we were working weekends and if every single person was getting a adequate check.
But you're concentrating on the administrative part, and then
I'm concentrating on the background check. I am not going to be cool with giving somebody dignity when I don't know who that person is and why they're in my country.
Oh, no. I agree with you. But that's why I say no more than 5 years. You need to prove that you've been here for more than 5.
But okay, here's the thing. He's saying, I'm not comfortable giving someone dignity, quote unquote dignity. I'm not comfortable giving somebody amnesty if I don't know who they are or why they're in my country. And she goes, yeah, I agree. But if they're here more than 5 years, that's not an answer to who they are. That is completely irrelevant to the question he just asked her. That has nothing to do with the people he just asked her, with what he just asked her. Yeah, with that number, ICE would need to verify 25 people a month. Yeah. 25 people a month, background checks on people who are from countries that don't keep records. You'll be lucky to get one person done in a month.
I still need to know who you are, though, Congresswoman.
Of course that I need you to know that you're a Pepe Perez or Rosa. Of course, I understand. Yes,
and I just don't know how. I just don't know.
You just don't know how.
I mean, fairness. How am I going to think about what 30,000 people is? 30,000 people is almost a full football stadium. So now, if I'm going to give these illegal aliens 15 million, 17 million, you know it, the ability to go get jobs. That now they can compete legally against my kids. They're already competing illegally against them, but now they can compete on a legal end. Now they're going to be able to go get a house and get a mortgage. My kid's going to have an even harder time when he's competing against an extra 17 million people.
I'm going to turn that around. You know, those 17 million people, most of them are helping for the supply of housing to increase.
By taking 17 million people and giving them.
Okay. That is an article to the study. I'll pull that up in a second. 17 million people are helping for the supply of housing to increase. Now, here's the thing. If there were 17 million people and they were all building houses, yes, there would be more. There would be a net housing increase. Are all 17 million of those people building houses? No. All 17 million of them need to live in a house, which makes it a net negative on housing, which is obvious to anyone who has looked at this ever. There is more demand when there are 17 million people here than if those 17 million people weren't here. If they were all building houses, yeah, you might have more houses. But they're not all building houses. And they all do need a place to live. Huh. Weird.
What really is legalization, even though they don't get to vote. You are now putting 17 million more people in competition for the limited amount of housing that we have. And even if they all start going to build houses, which is another issue in of itself, but even if they start to go do that, we still have 17 million new people going to compete for jobs that are getting tougher to do, especially with AI, and competing against buying a house. And so all that's going to do is going to take the American kid, and I call a kid a 20-year-old, 30-year-old,
sure,
and it's going to put more. It's going to put more pressure and stress on them.
I see it completely different.
So you explain this one to me. Let's say, for instance, I'm roughing numbers. Let's say, for instance, the guy on the corner was charging $20 an hour. And Jose has been getting 10 under the rug.
The table.
So under the table. Under the table, he's getting $10.
Yeah.
Is that staying like that?
No, because then now.
Dude, this guy is looking at his producer like, I got her. Dude, look at him. Look at him. Look at the look on his face when she says no because now. Like he's like, "Oh my gosh." Right? Watch the look on this guy's face.
$10.
Yeah.
Is that staying like that?
No, because then now
I mean, he deserves it. Honestly, he deserves to react like that here. I mean, look at it. He's just like, I got her. Like, I got her.
now, Jose,
Yep.
because there's e-verify mandatory, is going to pay whatever the marketplace, whatever the fair market value is.
He's covering his face because he's trying not to laugh that he's got her. I really think that's what happened. I really think he's like, I really think that this is him looking at his producer, like trying to hold it together because she's just like, I mean, like this is Roadrunner stepping on a rake. Like Roadrunner stepping on a rake. That's what's happening. And he's like trying to hold it together. So she doesn't catch on that she's made a mistake. So he can he's just giving her rope to hang herself without like letting her know that she's fucked up.
Is going to pay whatever the marketplace, whatever the fair market value.
I mean, he's smiling with his eyes. You can see it.
And then the guy standing on the court.
So now he's going to get raised to $20. And then what becomes the case is that the guy who hired him in the beginning to get the cheap labor, now he doesn't have the cheap labor anymore. So now
that's correct. And he has two choices. Jose and the guy and your friend's a white guy standing at the corner. He has two choices now. But let's suppose that the white guy says, I'm not going to do this anymore because I have an opportunity to learn how to do, I don't know, x-rays, or I can.
But he doesn't. She's literally going, oh yeah, the white guy should have to go to school and pay for a better job. And that job actually belongs to this Mexican that he can get paid more for. Why does the white guy need to do that? The white guy has to, you know, and here's another thing. And I feel like I've talked about this before. And I feel like we talk about this in some way every week. Every week we talk about stupid people and how hurting like the rights of stupid people and not like screwing over stupid people or treating them like second-class citizens and how certain policies do that without realizing it. There are intelligence barriers to certain jobs that pay certain amounts of money. There just are. Okay. And that is not bad. I'm not saying a negative thing about these people. What I am saying is that there are people who do these jobs for $20 an hour who, unless they do them for 30 years and get really, really good at them practically and then get into a position where they're managing that type of job, which not everyone who does it can. Just like if you got 20 guys who are, you know, you got 20 guys who are all, well, in this case, she's talking about housing, right? So if you got 20 guys who are building houses, not all 20 of them are going to be able to one day be foremen and superintendents, right? That itself requires an intelligence level that not everyone has, not everyone is capable of. And that's okay. That's not a moral judgment on those people. But when she says this, she's just saying, she's assuming like this is like blank slate liberalism sneaking in right here. There's a blank slate liberalism that sneaks in right there because the assumption is this guy can go become an x-ray tech. He can go become a radiologist. Well, so he should go into debt or he should make enough money to pay for that school. Well, that's not great. And it also assumes that he's smart enough to do it. And maybe he's not. And because he's not, we owe that guy dignified work, dignified labor that feeds his family. And because we owe that guy dignified work that feeds his family and gives him the opportunity to provide for his family, it is obviously immoral, obviously gravely immoral to disadvantage him to disadvantage him to the benefit of foreigners. Especially foreigners who don't have a right to be here in the first place, who are already harming him by undercutting his wages. To reward them for having done that by giving them more money. This is obviously immoral. It could not be more obviously immoral. Is it economically fruitful? I don't know, and I don't care. I'm talking about these guys on the ground, these people who not everyone is smart enough to go become an x-ray tech, to go back to school, to do these things. Not everyone has the luxury to do it because they've got kids to feed, and going back to school would mean they don't have the time to go back to school. They can't afford to feed their kids and go back to school. And Mysterion nails this on the head. The great line here is, you are removing the dignity of the working labor, lower class and lower middle class American for the dignidad of illegal immigrants who have already harmed them. That is inexcusable injustice. And even if he can't afford med school, yes, Sneaky Steak gets this perfectly. And even if he can't afford med school, because she's giving them legal status, they can now apply to those same schools. And because we give so many F1 visas out, they've got foreigners who don't even live here applying to those schools, so they're forced to compete with foreigners there too. This could not be more elementary, obvious injustice. And she doesn't get it because she's not trying to get it, because she's not concerned. Maria Salazar doesn't care about the dignity of everyday Americans, of lower middle class Americans, of the labor class Americans. Maria Salazar cares about foreigners first. Why? Because she has ethnicity in common with them, because she's not afraid to advocate as a group on behalf of her ethnic group. She's not. And you know what? Jeremy Carl says this in this book I'm reading right now, in The Unprotected Class. Jeremy Carl points this out. You cannot have a society where every other ethnic group is allowed to and encouraged to by the system advocate for their collective group benefit and have one group that isn't. That group dies out 100% of the time. Never, or the society collapses in violent bloodshed. 100% of the time, that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to shamelessly and admittedly advocate on behalf of white Americans, because every other racial group is allowed to do it. And just telling them to stop doesn't get it to stop. It doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't fix the problem. Telling them to stop doesn't make it stop tomorrow. And if it doesn't stop tomorrow, somebody's going to die eventually. The white race will die out. And I have no problem saying this, and neither does any religion have a problem saying this. Neither does the Christian religion have a problem saying this. I should say the theology of any denomination. You should respect your ancestors and pass on what they gave you. And part of what they gave you is your body. You are your body. You're not a body with a soul. You are a body-soul composite. That's what a human person is. And part of that is your genes. Part of that is the thing that makes you up. The history, the blood memory in you, not in your body, in you. And to say, oh, well, I don't want to do this thing that makes me kind of uncomfortable, so I'm just going to, I know that thing that I've inherited will die out. It'll go away. It'll be wiped off the planet if I don't start doing this thing. So I'm not going to do it. That's cowardice. That's inexcusable cowardice. That's inexcusable cowardice. You ought to advocate. Ought we be in a society where you have to choose between your people dying out or advocating racially on their behalf in the racial conflicts? Ought society be that way? Obviously, society ought not be that way. Our society is, and you get two choices. You get to sit by and watch your people die out, or you advocate on their behalf as a group, as a collective. You get two choices. Pick. I know what I'm choosing. I'm choosing fuck Maria Salazar because she's trying to fuck over white America. That's what I'm choosing. And I'm not going to apologize for it.
can be, instead of outside in the roofing, I can be inside the office.
No, let's do
pushing
it the
paper.
other way. Let's say he doesn't want to go do something else. Let's say he wants to stay in what his trade is. Because why do I have to move the American guy, Maria?
Okay,
why do
fine. Don't move him. Then have the owner. I give the owner the possibility of hiring Jose, who doesn't speak much English, and Joe, your friend.
Yeah, and Joe is a master carpenter, much more qualified. Now we've got Joe and Jose. And Jose's got everything against him because he doesn't have that one ticket anymore, which is cheap labor. So now when Jose can't find a job because the Joes of the world are coming back out and taking him when they're paying fair wage again, what are we doing with all of the Jose's who are now in my country, draining my schools, my hospitals, my food, my housing? What are we doing?
They have to pay for their own health insurance. You know that the federal law
How are they going to do that without a job, Maria?
Oh, well, then, it's then if they don't have a job, then they would have to go back home, or they would have to then do something. They will have to find a job, if not go back home. But there will not be any chances.
Are you telling me if he doesn't have a job, the only service that he's going to get is if he has an emergency at the emergency room? No other services. He ain't getting food. He ain't getting vouchers. He's getting nothing.
Food from where? Food from where?
First of all, she knows food from where. Second of all, remember in the bill earlier, we read in the bill, we read that it says that they might be at a place where they're getting social services. Well, if they're at a place where they're getting social services, then they are getting other services. So what she's saying is they might be violating my law by getting social services, but you can't deport them if they're doing it. Her law itself sets up refutations to her law to make sure that illegals get federal services that she's telling Dennis Michael Lynch right here that they won't get. What the fuck are we doing here? I mean, this could not be more obviously facially hatred of heritage Americans.
Who is going to give him food?
An EBT card. He's not getting anything. I'm asking you, does he get
food
any
stamps,
services?
No federal programs available. No Medicare, no Medicaid, no Social Security, or food stamps.
So I got Jose, who was poor to begin with, doesn't have any money saved. Jose doesn't have a job. He's lingering around for 30 days. And now what you're saying is,
well, if he doesn't have a job, then
we smoked him out. We smoked him out. He's out.
If he does, but he has the dignity in him. He just needs to go find a job. He doesn't find a job. Well, fine. I mean, then I don't know. Then he has to go
home. He gets no other perk. Your math doesn't work for the sense that if you're going to now tell them they have to pay their taxes, they're automatically going to be lifted to a new salary. And now what's going to wind up happening is they're going to find the same problem that my kids got.
If you guys haven't seen this clip, this part is going to... This is going to make you guys really angry. I have been angry at this already several times. I've watched this clip and rewatched this clip to make sure that she said what she's about to say. So, buckle up, chat. Buckle up, chat.
Pay taxes, Dad. I got to pay this. I got to pay that. I can't find an apartment. Apartments are $3,000 a month for 2-bedroom shithole. I can't do it. Why can't I do it?
That's their responsibility, not mine.
But wait a second.
I have made your children compete with 17 million more illegals, and they can't afford a place to live or find a job.
You could have 2 jobs or 3 jobs. I mean, it's like that's the average American.
And they can't afford a place to live or make enough money to feed themselves on one job. That's not my problem, says Maria Salazar. Maria Salazar says to American parents, I created a system. I created a situation. I want to create this situation. I want to create this system where your children are forced to compete with foreigners, where your children can no longer afford a place to live or to feed themselves on one job. But don't worry, I'm going to make sure the federal government gets their due. Because who deserves restitution most in this? Oh, the people who caused the problem. They're the people who caused the problem. They're going to have to pay federal income tax. These people are getting this dignity. just to make sure the federal government gets restitution. But while I'm doing that, while I'm making sure the federal government gets their restitution, I'm going to fuck your kids over even more. And that's not my problem. Maria Salazar, I don't care that you were born here. I don't care if your parents were born here. I don't care if you were a 7th generation American. What you just said should get you sent to Liberia. You should be kicked out of this country permanently. You should never have anything ever again in your life. That is disgusting. You are a piece of human garbage who is more concerned with your people and giving money to foreigners than you are with the people you are supposed to represent. You are everything wrong with government. Go fuck yourself.
Person problem.
I'm Maria, and what winds up happening now is you are legalizing these people to work to go into more competition against American workers.
So there's the worst woman on the planet. All right, here we go. So this is another Republican sponsor of this bill, Congressman Lawler. He was on Laura Ingraham. So let's watch what Congressman Lawler had to say about the bill.
Yes, disagrees with this analysis. We welcome Congressman Mike Lawler of New York. Congressman, it's great to see you tonight. You knew this wasn't going to be a fun interview, but I salute you for coming on. I want to start with the fact, Congressman, that the DHS under this legislation, and yes, I've read it before you ask me, can waive any of these rules for eligibility, including an alien's criminal history. How can you possibly look in the face of the American people and say that's dignity?
So a few things, Laura. Number one, under current law, the Department of Homeland Security is doing that. They are absolutely allowing people who are in this country illegally to ultimately get on a pathway to citizenship. It has happened for 40 years.
Hey, this problem we're trying to fix, this law encodes that thing and makes it unfixable because it makes the problem the law, not the solution. Mike Lawler's response to that. Pretty chill, right? Mike Lawler's response is, well, they're doing it already. That is not how you fix things. Sorry, guys. Let me propose some, let me teach you critical thinking 101. Let me teach you some critical thinking 101, all right? If you have a problem, you don't make the law that the problem has to stay that way. That's not how you fix the problem. That's how you make the problem worse. Oh, sometimes they do this and they shouldn't? Let's make sure they do it all the time. What the fuck are you talking about, Mike Lawler? Are you retarded? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
This system is fundamentally broken. I know it because my wife is an immigrant and I've been through it. And so my...
I don't think W-Ice, so true, W-Ice. I don't think I need to... Yeah, I don't think I need to... I think you guys can figure that one out on your own. I'll just pause right there, let you guys think about that on your own. Everybody thought about it? All right, cool. Moving on.
Perspective on this is very simple. Number one, the border was the biggest problem. President Trump ran and won on that issue. He said he would stop illegal immigration into the country. He has effectively done that. We've had 10 straight months of net zero illegal entry into the country. I fully support that. And we want to codify President Trump's policies into law, which is what the Dignity Act does when it comes to the border.
First of all, we didn't look through a bunch on the, we didn't really look through the border stuff but Mysterion and I read it. We both, I can't say this for sure. I cannot give like my normal, I'm 100% sure about this guarantee that I would give on a lot of things because I haven't looked into it really deeply on the legalese. But Mysterion and I both, on our first read of it, were 90% true. We're 90% sure that it actually undercuts Trump's border policies and it actually undercuts the border security that people voted for.
Secondarily is to deal with the undocumented that are in this country. Get them out of the shadows. You are talking about tens of millions of people who have been living in the shadows, undocumented, and no matter... What do you mean? How?
Yeah.
They're
I'm sorry
not,
to interrupt you, but
not legally
you've
here.
got to stop using
they're
the cliches.
They're not legally here.
Right, this in the shadows
they're not
line,
legally here,
I've been
Laura.
dealing with this for 25 years.
Dude, I get it. I get the girl boss thing. Not a huge fan of them myself. I'm not a huge fan of the girl bosses myself. But Laura Ingraham has been doing this for so long, and I love when she throws, I've been doing this for 20 plus years, because I've seen her do it before to these like rhinos who are just getting into government and they're just not conservative. I have seen her throw this at them multiple times, and I gotta be honest, I really like it. It is so fun when she just throws stuff at them.
I don't know what shadows you're looking at, but they're not in the shadows. They're working in restaurants. Some are. Others are engaged in widespread fraud in California.
Yeah.
But this idea
and
that they're already given amnesty, they're not already given amnesty. Why do you come on television and say that? The president has been trying to remove people from this country. The only reason they're not being removed is because we don't have strong Democrats and Republicans to support it.
No, Laura, criminal aliens 100% should be removed.
Drop the criminal. Just aliens. It's cleaner.
From this country, period. And the bill provides for that. I don't want anyone getting...
As we saw earlier with the Dennis Michael Lynch. I think it was Dennis Michael Lynch. If it's not, I apologize. As we saw earlier with that clip, it does not provide for that, because the bill says that that allows DHS to make that as a judgment call at any time and overrule it for anyone. So it just doesn't say that. He's just lying. Either that or he doesn't know what's in it, which I think he doesn't know what's in it, as we'll see later in this clip. I'm pretty sure that Congressman Lawler doesn't know what's in this bill that he has co-sponsored.
A waiver. I don't want anyone getting a free pass.
It's in the legislation.
If you have committed
a crime,
if you have committed a crime, yes, I have, Laura. If you have committed a crime, you should be removed from the country.
There it is again, dude. So Dennis Michael Lynch did this, and you're seeing Laura Ingraham do it. They both get the most easy gotcha of. I mean, it's like. You can tell they didn't expect it to work.
Did a crime? Yes, I have, Laura. If you have
she's like, oh.
Committed a crime, you should be removed from the country, period. Number two, what we are trying to do is say, if you have been in the country for more than 5 years, in other words, if you came here during Joe Biden's administration, you don't qualify.
How do you determine?
Everyone before that qualifies. Everyone before that qualifies. Everyone who got here before that qualifies. They said it. It's in the bill. It is in the bill. And according to this 2017 MIT study, let me show you, chat. Let me show you. According to this 2017 MIT study, this is a chart from that study. The average estimate from conservatives and Democrats both are very underneath what they think it is. It is probably closer to 22.1 million illegals in the country in 2017. And this bill says the cutoff is in 2020. That is 3 more years of illegals. 3 more years. There's probably more than 25 million illegals that qualify under this bill. What are we doing?
You don't qualify under this legislation.
All of
5 years is a completely arbitrary thing. It just is put that way to make boomer Republicans eat it up, to be like, oh, everybody who came in under Joe Biden's going to get deported if I approve this law. They're going to get deported if you don't approve the law, because they're all going to get deported. They all are going to get deported eventually. They should all be deported. We shouldn't. What? What are we doing?
It sounds great.
It's
Answer
very clear.
A simple question.
It's very clear. You have to be in the country before 2020. Yeah, you have to be in the country before 2020. So anybody who came,
please.
Yep.
All right. Please tell my audience, because they're very smart.
Yep.
How does an immigration officer determine millions and millions, determine continuous presence, and tell me the considerations they take into account to determine that?
Well, look, if they cannot prove that, if they cannot prove continuous presence, they wouldn't qualify for this. You have to be able to meet the qualifications. I just asked you a question. How do you determine it? You have to be able to meet the qualifications of the program, and that means the Department of Homeland Security is going to they are going to make the determination, as they always have,
rules
based on the current structure and guidelines that are in place. But the bottom line here, Laura, can I make a few points? Because this actually matters.
Yeah.
E-Verify is part of the bill.
You bet it does.
Okay, so you actually... and it's part of the bill. And we want to verify that every single person who would be employed in this country is here legally. If you're not verified, you wouldn't be able to lawfully work, and we would hold those businesses accountable. The bottom line of the Dignity Act is very straightforward. You have to be in the country for more than 5 years. You cannot have committed a crime. You cannot collect government benefits.
Okay, that's false.
You have to pay a fine. You must pay back taxes. It's not false, Laura. You must pay back taxes,
all right, Congressman,
and you must be employed. Okay. Those are the terms.
Here's
Those
the
are
truth.
the terms.
Congressman, you know how much I like you, but you can't come on this show and say to my audience that you can't have committed a crime to be eligible under the, quote, Dignity Act, because there are several crimes that are, quote, nonviolent that do not qualify for inadmissibility. And on top of that, there are multiple instances, including family unity, public interest, and just discretion on the part of immigration officers. I can't imagine Democrat immigration officers under a Democrat president in the future was going to hold this strict, we're not going to let any criminals.
People will lie as a group cover up that's been here longer than they have. Yeah, obviously. Obviously. You can break the law as a little treat so I don't get called racist anymore. Literally, people are actually like that, dude.
Then gang member affiliation.
No, what they're going to do, Laura, what they're going to do, what the Democrats will do if they get complete control of Congress and the White House, they're going to end the filibuster, and they are going to pass a blanket amnesty bill.
I'm going to say it again. The solution to problems is not to do the opposite. The solution to Democrats are going to pass amnesty is to get rid of all the people that they're going to give amnesty to, not to give them permission to be here for 7 years. Because here's the thing. Mike Lawler says that, but there is nothing in this law that means that they can't do that after you've given them legal permission. All this law does is, between his hypothetical blanket amnesty and now, is it adds a period where none of them can be deported. It objectively, based on his standard, makes it worse. He's retarded.
That's the fundamental challenge here. What we are trying to do is say, if you came under the Biden administration, you don't qualify.
Allegations of gang membership obtained from state or federal in-house or local database or a network of databases used for the purpose of recording and sharing activities of.
If you have committed a crime, you don't qualify. And here's the thing about legislation, Laura. You understand this better than most.
Alleged gang members across law enforcement agencies shall not establish the participation described in such paragraph. You guys remember Kilmar Abrego Garcia? I made a couple videos about that. Remember that? That guy would qualify for this law. I just want to be clear. Like, he's in MS-13. He's a human trafficker. That guy would qualify for this, okay? They're just doing what the Democrats did with him, where they just made that guy nationally famous for being the worst ever. They're just making that law, and they want the Republicans to do it.
If there is an issue with the legislation, you work through that. You fix that. If you want to say that there's a problem here with the waiver, then great, let's revoke it. You know what else I want included in this bill? I want to end sanctuary jurisdictions. I want to...
If you make all the jurisdictions sanctuary, it doesn't fucking matter, you fucking idiot. Oh, I want to end sanctuary jurisdiction, but I'm going to make all the jurisdictions sanctuary. I'm going to make them all sanctuary, but I'm going to end the word sanctuary. Fucking idiots, dude. Sanctuary city in your pocket, because all you have to do is whip out the rosary and suddenly it's a place where the rosary is occurring and you can't be deported. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Play your cards right, run for Congress? I'm not going to do that.
To ensure that we pass the SAVE Act. Throw it into the bill. We should require proof of citizenship. Nobody under dignity would get citizenship.
Dude.
Jurisdictions. I want to ensure that we pass the SAVE Act. Throw it into the bill. We should require proof of citizenship. Nobody under dignity.
Bro's just saying words now. Hey, my amnesty bill, put the SAVE Act in there. What the hell are you talking about? Bro is just saying words. I'm going to say some word. Like, bro's just sitting up there like monkey, orange, banana, pineapple, coconut. Large, small, big, paper, photograph, speaker, doorway, light bulb, sink, cutting board, television, dusting. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You having a stroke? Are you having a stroke? Words are spells. We talked about this last week. Words are spells. He's literally just doing Democrat word magic where he's like, put the SAVE Act in there. And then he thinks everybody's going to go, oh, SAVE Act, me like. Or. What the hell is wrong with you, dude? Are you trying? Is this your trying? I would honestly love to know if this was his best effort. Is this his best effort? This guy's an idiot.
Would get citizenship and they wouldn't get the right to vote. So to me, this is doing nothing is not an answer. Doing nothing is not an answer. And we actually have. I think she's going to say it.
That's what they said in 1986. Yeah.
Oh, Laura Ingraham throwing Ronald Reagan under the bus a little bit. Ooh, 1986 amnesty bill, Ronald Reagan. There you go. Another great thing. Another terrible thing Ronald Reagan did. What's the penalty for treason again? My chat's going to get me banned. That's so funny. Lois Griffin going, the SAVE Act, proof of citizenship. Peter, you got to pass the SAVE Act. Peter, we need proof of citizenship.
1986, we dealt with that.
No, but they gave them pathway to citizenship, and we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. We're not giving them a pathway to citizenship.
We give them dignity. At some point in the future, another legislator will write another law to give them paths to citizenship.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I must have misheard him. I must have misheard him.
We dealt with that.
No, but they gave them pathway to citizenship, and we're not doing that.
Right.
We give them dignity. At some point in the future, another legislator will write another law to give them paths to citizenship.
Huh. Chat, I think he might be lying. Shang Yang. Ronald Reagan did veto the embargo against South Africa, though. I appreciate that. That is true. He did do that. That was a good thing he did. Just because somebody does one bad thing doesn't mean everything they're doing is bad. I'm just saying that that was a bad thing he did.
We're not giving them a pathway to citizenship.
So under this bill, and it's in the legislation, state and local databases involving and describing criminal gang activity are not part of the calculus. That's already determined in this legislation. And as I said, and I will put this online so everyone can read it, there are broad categories in which officers reviewing applications can waive people in under a.
This is the face of a guy who is finding out right now, live on television, that that is in that bill. This is the face of a man who is figuring it out live on air. This dude did not know that. This man, whoops. Oh, hold on, chat. I made a boo-boo. Here we go. This is the face of a man who did not know that. This is the face of a guy who didn't know that. What are we doing? Keep saying it. I feel like I have to keep saying it because every 5 seconds it's like, what are we doing?
A fact-based, analysis that is subjective and a barn door wide enough for people to roll through for past crimes.
They do full background checks
for past crimes and continuous presence in the United States.
They do full background checks. Remind me, chat. Remind me. It's 22.5 million people. And remind me, chat, how long in the bill do they have to do those background checks? What's the timeline on those background checks? Can somebody in chat tell me? I think I might have forgotten. Somebody in chat tell me what that was. I think it was 18 months, right? 25 a month per ICE agent. Yeah, that's at 18, Mysterion. That's at 18. See, so here's the problem. You're technically correct at 18 million, but there's 22.5 million people who are going to qualify for this. So let's see, 22.5 million people, 22.5 million people, 18 months divided by 18 months. Oh, you're going to have to verify 1.2 million people a month? You're going to have to verify 1.2 billion people a month. Call me crazy. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think those background checks are going to be very thorough if this law were to pass, which it's not, by the way. The law is not going to pass. But call me crazy. How many of that is per agent per month? 50K ICE agents. Okay, 50,000. So 1.2 million, 1.25 million illegals divided by a month divided by 50,000 ICE agents. 25,000. Oh, wait. 25. Yeah, 25 a month. 25 a month. 25 a month because it's 50. It's 1.25 million divided by 50,000. Yeah, it's 25 a month. It's 25 a month. So 25 a month. Yeah, an ICE agent would have to complete every ICE agent would have to do one background check a day completely of people who do not have every single one. So there would be none on the streets. And every single one would have to do one a day completely every ICE agent would have to do one a day completely without qualifying, without the luxury of all of the background that without the luxury of background from their home countries, because those countries do not keep records.
Officers reviewing applications can waive people in under a fact-based, analysis.
And once they do the background, they can just ignore it if they want to.
That is subjective and
yeah, if one mail truck gets lost, yeah, Miss Hira makes a good point. If one mail truck in the country with these background checks in them gets lost, we are screwed. This it's just terrible legislation.
Barn door wide enough for people to roll through for past crimes.
They do full background checks
for past crimes and continue.
Can't do a full background check. Can't do a full background check because the countries they're coming from don't keep records.
continuous presence in the United States. So your family unity, public interest, other humanitarian concerns. So the admissibility includes broad waivers. That's a major problem with this. I don't know why they keep doing it that way. You probably aren't in favor of that, but it's, yeah.
If one ICE office in the country gets the flu, 1 million illegals just get away with it. 1 million illegals just don't get vetted and get to stay.
Full background checks.
No, look, you have to do a full background check, inclusive of criminal history. Gang affiliation is not waived. What it is saying
yes,
is...
it is. It is. She just showed it. It is. They can waive it.
Presence of somebody in a database does not automatically assume that they are part of a gang. But the bottom line is all of that would have to be reviewed.
How about multiple DUIs?
And it should be...
How about multiple DUIs,
that should be included. That should... I have been arguing for years that DWI should be included. Yeah. I had a case 2 years ago in my district where a illegal immigrant... got arrested for a DWI, ended up killing a young boy.
They can stay under this legislation.
Should be deported under those provisions.
Not going to happen.
I'm happy to work with you to get it right.
We appreciate it.
I'm happy to work with you.
All right, Congressman, thank you. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So Mike Lawler doesn't know what's in the legislation. He's stupid.